For this project, we are focusing on retrofitting Swinburne's campus in Hawthorn. Across the site, there are scattered spaces that don't quite live up to their potential, areas that feel disconnected, inactive, and overlooked. Through our analysis, we identified 4 key issues. The campus lacks a clear public presence, many areas need stronger identity and activation, there's poor continuity between spaces, and several zones remain underutilised. Our proposal addresses these challenges through 2 main strategies. First, enhancing the public presence of campus buildings with a consistent visual identity. And second, improving spatial connections by activating these underused spaces to create a more engaging and cohesive campus experience. Looking at the existing Swinburne buildings, there's already a strong and recognisable visual language that defines the campus. Strong concrete facades and large glazed walls are common features, representing the university's focus on technology, innovation, and openness. The consistent use of red and black across buildings unifies the campus under a distinct and confident identity that clearly says Swinburne. Through our retrofit, we aim to strengthen this visual presence even further, creating a cohesive architectural identity that connects people to the campus before they even arrive, whether they're walking nearby or passing by on a train.
Using Tyflow, we conducted a simulation of the most viewed buildings from the point of view of train passengers. To do this, we modelled a box which acts as our train, birthing geometry from its faces. We then added a collider cone, which emulates the field of view of passengers on the train as they look out onto the campus, to more accurately determine the most viewed facades. This allowed us to analyse what buildings would benefit most from a retrofit to enhance Swinburne's presence. Through this analysis, we have found that the northern facades of the AR, AD, and BA buildings are some of the most visible to these passengers.
Then, when visiting these buildings, apart from a few small signs or a little red wall, these buildings lack the Swinburne identity and don't act as landmarks of a University of Technology.
The AR facade outcome builds directly on Swinburne's existing architectural identity. By replacing the solid brick wall with large glazed openings, the design creates a stronger visual connection between the interior activity and the public realm. Layered over this, the coloured perforated louvers reinforce Swinburne's visual identity. The new entrance also softens what was once a harsh, enclosed edge, opening up the entryway to improve visibility and remove a blind corner that promotes safer, more comfortable movement through the space.
For the AD building's facade, we incorporated a series of undulating slats which flow passengers' eyes between the BA and AR buildings. Using slats to maintain the privacy of the AD offices, the top portion of the slats are black while the lower portion are red to further brand Swinburne as a cohesive campus. The BA building's facade features a series of perforated panels offset from the building to create outdoor balconies within each floor, similar to the ATC building, connecting to the existing typologies within campus.
The larger, open perforations and the subsequent colours have been placed along the facade with the highest density of geometry from the Tyflow simulation, allowing the most dynamic aspect of the facade to be seen more prominently.
These buildings, each with their own identity, act as 3 individual landmarks with their unique facade systems, exemplifying Swinburne as a University of Technology, while being unified through the Swinburne colours and emphasis on technology-focused design.
Next, we looked at the branding of Swinburne through the lens of the user when using the campus. Here is a space syntax analysis that studies how visibility and spatial connections influence how people move and occupy space. It helps reveal which areas are visually accessible or hidden, affecting how often they are used.
On the Swinburne map, the blue areas represent spaces with low visibility or limited visual connection, meaning they're less likely to attract movement or activity. The red areas show high visibility zones, where people are more likely to pass through or gather.
Through this analysis across the whole campus, we found there was quite a number of underutilised open spaces, laneways and entries.
We have categorised these areas into 3 scales, being macro, meso and micro, as a way to bring identity and life back into the campus.
This is the testbed site for our research as it encompasses these 3 scales. This macro scale strategy aims to implement areas for students and users to have a place to stay, as currently there's very little areas for this to occur. In this macro design for the courtyard space between AD and AR, it implements a canopy design to incorporate grass and outdoor spaces to sit, We noticed from walking through campus the outdoor spaces such as those outside of the George building and ATC were well used by students, and this is something we wanted to incorporate here. Although it could be assumed the lack of activation could also be due to the lack of shelter, creating no places to stay during the wet days. By using this green roof canopy, it allows occupants the opportunity to have indoor spaces as well, and also provides the existing cafe with an area for users to sit and still feel as though they are outside.
At the meso scale, we have focused on the laneways, which currently act mostly as thoroughfares that people pass through without stopping. In this meso design, looking at the laneway outside of ATC, we wanted to transform the space into somewhere people can stay and engage in. From the road, there is a red ribbon that leads people in, acting as both a visual identity marker and a guide that draws you through the space. As it moves along the laneway, the ribbon shifts in function by becoming seating, storage, and shelter. It offers 3 seating options: single for individual study, paired study, and group study. And lastly, at the micro scale, we looked at the entrances, aiming to create a stronger sense of arrival.
Looking at the entrance of AD, we have created an identity that stands out for the user, catching attention and guiding movement inwards. Inside the entrance continues as an exhibition space with shelving for display. In this case, the architecture cohort can display models within the architecture staff building.
Overall, these strategies aim to strengthen identity across the campus by turning overlooked spaces into recognisable and functional parts of Swinburne.